Hey, welcome to the show. Today is going to be a short episode. I just wanted to give a quick message to you and hopefully a message that you can spread to the people that you love today about how we can prop each other up and lift each other up and tell each other that we're doing a good job. This is something that my wife and I say to each other a lot. You're doing a good job. And it's something that I have started to say more and more to people in my life, in the clinic, when I'm treating patients, with my clients, to my mom, to my family. I try to say it more than I ever have in my entire life because I think the need to hear a little bit of validation, the need to feel seen and heard, it's stronger than ever because we have so much information coming at us all the time. We have so much pressure on us in this world. We are more connected than ever via the internet, and yet people feel more isolated and lonely than ever before. Mental health is a massive crisis in our country. People are struggling. And I think that it is because we feel disconnected and because we are not feeling seen and heard that we need to hear this phrase more than ever. And it is so simple. You're doing a good job. It's amazing because it seems really obvious that we would be saying that to people throughout the day, but we don't. We don't tell our teammates that. We don't tell our kids that. We don't tell our partners that. We have expectations that people should show up in a certain way, and so we forget to ever acknowledge them. We forget to acknowledge the fact that they are showing up in a beautiful way, and they are having impact, and they are making a difference, and that sometimes it's just really nice to be acknowledged for that. I tell this story quite a lot because it made a huge impact on me. It was about 5.5 years ago now, that my wife was going through treatments for breast cancer. She was diagnosed with breast cancer in May of 2018. She was 33 years old and we had been married for 6 months. We'd just gotten back from our honeymoon. She'd told me she'd found a lump in her breast, and we had immediately started down this pathway of intense treatment, including chemotherapy, immunotherapy. She had a double mastectomy and ongoing treatment for a year. It was very full on. We were scared. I was terrified. We were trying to hold it all together. My kids, my stepdaughters at the time were 5 and 7 years old. We were both working, trying to work full time. And we had just finished remodeling our house. Everything was very fresh and full on in the moment. I look back on that time and I think a lot of it was a blur for us, but I do remember very distinctly this feeling of like, okay, you got to step up, you got to step into action mode and caretaker mode because this woman needs you more than ever. And so I did. I was speaking to physicians and functional med doctors, anybody I could get a hold of across the country. I was having conversations on the phone all the time with people about what else could we be doing besides the conventional treatments. She was taking herbs, supplements. I was growing wheatgrass on the counter. I mean, the list goes on. It was ridiculous how many things that we were trying, and I wouldn't change any of that. But there was a time where we were getting pretty worn down. It was right after the 4th chemotherapy that she had gone to. She had 6 total. And things were a little bit tense in our house. She was exhausted and really feeling the side effects of the treatment. I was exhausted and stressed. And we were kind of arguing in our bedroom. And I remember looking at her and just asking, honey, what do you need from me? And she was sitting on the floor and she looked up at me with tears in her eyes and she said, I don't need you to be my nurse. I need you to be my wife. And I need you to tell me that I'm doing a good job. And that sentence just stopped me because on so many levels, I thought that I had been showing her and telling her that she was doing a good job. But I hadn't actually said the words, which seems so obvious. But we were just going and going full on, trying to get through this process, trying to get her to feel as good as possible through these treatments. And we had 2 little kids and we were working. I mean, she was still working through chemo and I was working full time. We were doing everything that we could. And in the midst of all that, I had neglected to say the simplest phrase to her, you're doing a good job. She felt like she was falling short, like she wasn't doing enough to beat cancer. Along the same lines, I felt like I was falling short and not doing enough to beat cancer because we just weren't acknowledging each other in that way. It's so simple to say, you're doing a great job. And you think it doesn't make that big of a difference, that simple, small phrase. But man, it does, especially when it's delivered in a moment of weariness. When somebody really needs just a little bit of encouragement, that little phrase makes a world of difference. And so I wanted to share that with you in the hopes that maybe you could pass this along. Maybe you could start just speaking this phrase to a few people in your life. Just give them a little bit of encouragement and help lighten their load a little bit, because I think everybody is working so hard to try to get through life, to try to manage the stressors of life, and also make it a good life. It does take quite a bit of energy, and there are a lot of things that are tugging at us in this world. So I hope that you know that you are doing a great job. People see you. You have impact. What you do makes a difference and it matters. And you're doing a great job. And I bet there's a couple people in your life who are doing a great job too, and they would just love to hear that from you. So I hope this conversation spurred on some insights. I'm really glad you're here. I hope you have a wonderful day. You're doing a great job. And thanks for being ready to impact. Thanks for listening to Impact Ready. I hope today's episode inspired you to own your impact and recognize that you are powerful. By elevating our energy and awareness, we can create exponential change in this life. If you enjoyed today's insights, share them with a friend and subscribe to the show for more. I truly appreciate you. Thanks again for being here.